Hey folks, welcome to the 5th chapter in my 12-part series on video production for small business owners and nonprofits. If you would like to start this series from the beginning, you can go ahead and click the card icon that just appeared at the top of your screen. You're watching the free version of this class on YouTube, which is totally cool. I'm not going to waste your time telling you about the details about the full course. If you would like more information, you'll find a link down below in the video description. Without any further ado, let's begin the class. Hey folks, and welcome to the 5th chapter in my 12-part series on video production for small business owners and nonprofits. One of the easiest ways that you can enhance any video is to add third-party plugins, which include titles, transitions, and effects. One of the things that was really important to me when I was creating this course was to provide an experience where all of you at home could have the ability to follow along, because after all, everyone learns better when they have access to the same tools as the instructor. So in just a moment, I'm going to give all of you at home a totally free package of third-party effects that you can install into Final Cut Pro. That way, when we get to the tutorial portion of this class, all of you at home can participate. Now, just to be clear, that is available to everyone, not just those of you who are taking my course on Thinkific. So here's the deal. MotionVFX is sponsoring this course. Why? Because they make the best plugins for Final Cut Pro. I've been using their plugins for years, so I'm really grateful to have such an amazing company sponsor my course. Thanks, guys. When I told the folks at MotionVFX that I wanted to make sure that my students could have access to the same tools, they offered to create a new plugin that pulled from several of their products. If you're not familiar with MotionVFX, they have this thing where all of their plugins start with the letter M. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point I would like to invite you to go into the video description and download your free copy of FYI, before you install mDavid, you first need to download a free app called mInstaller, which simply allows you to be able to install third-party effects into Final Cut Pro. It's really straightforward. You'll find links to both mInstaller as well as mDavid.
Stop yelling, David!
Down below in the video description. The rest of this chapter is going to be broken down into 3 sections. First, we're going to talk about titles, then we'll move on to transitions, and finally we'll end with effects. With each of these categories, I'm going to show you how to add each into your project, as well as how to customize them, and after that, I'm going to show you a few quick examples of similar effects that I think will appeal to this crowd. At this point, if you have installed mDavid, you will find it here under the Titles and Generators tab found in the browser. If we scroll down, you'll see we have 4 samples of titles, plus a lower third. To preview any of these titles, you can scrub over them with the skimmer, or if you want to see the entire animation play out, you can click into the title so that you can see the skimmer, and then tap the spacebar. One feature I find really useful when previewing titles is to enable the looping feature. That way, when it hits the end of the animation, it repeats it from the beginning. To enable or disable looping, just press Command and the letter L on your keyboard. To add a title, you can either drag it and drop it above a shot, or you can drag it directly onto the storyline. By the way, one quick terminology thing. This area here is referred to as the timeline. This space is technically known as the storyline. The terminology is not important. This is not going to be on the final test. I just constantly say timeline when I mean to say storyline. So if you hear me say timeline, please know that 50% of the time I actually mean storyline. For now, I'm going to take this title and drop it over a clip in my storyline. To customize the title, just click on it so that it's highlighted, and all of the adjustments are made here in the inspector. If you bring your attention to the top of the inspector, you will notice that we have several different icons. We're going to start with this first one on the left, known as the Title Inspector. Please note the options that you see in the inspector always change based on whatever it is that you're clicked on. In the case of this title, you'll see that we have options to disable the animation in or out. Down below, we have an option for title type. Right now, it's on default, but if we switch it over to typography alpha, now the letters are transparent, allowing us to see through them to the layer below. Looks cool, could be super handy in the future, but for now, let's switch it back to the default. Where it says content position, you will see that we have fields where we can make changes to the X and Y axis. Okay folks, this part is really important. There are two ways that you can change the position of your text as well as the scale and rotation. Almost any time you see a number here in the inspector, you can just click into that field and then drag up or down on your mouse or trackpad to make changes to that number. So for example, if I click here into the X-axis and then drag down, as you can see here, it's moving the text to the left. If I drag up, it moves it to the right. The other option, which most people find to be a lot easier, is that they also give you access to on-screen controllers. So I can just use this tool to move, scale, or rotate my text. If we scroll down further in the inspector, you'll see that we have a field where we can swap out our placeholder text. This course is for small business owners, so a customer testimonial is one of the types of text you might want to add to your video. One little trick I wanted to throw in this class is how to quickly add emoji into this field. Now, in some applications on the Mac, you can right-click in order to reveal the emoji keyboard, but for some strange reason, that is not the case in Final Cut Pro. But of course, there is a shortcut. Control, Command, and the spacebar. So let's say I want to add 5 stars above our review. I'll just type the word star, double-click, and add one of them. Now I'm just going to treat it like it were any type of text, so I'm going to copy it and paste it over and over. Next, I'll head over to Yelp and find a well-written review, sometimes that's a challenge, and I'll copy and paste it into this field. I'll do a little editing and reformatting in a moment, but for now, let's go over a few more of these options. As we scroll down, you'll see the letters BG start to appear. That stands for background. Right now, the background is white, but if we want to remove it, all we need to do is change the opacity to 0. So now we've removed the background and we can see the shot underneath that layer. At this point, let's format our text so that it doesn't appear all on one line. And to do that, I'm just going to switch over to the text inspector here at the top. For starters, let's simplify this review. That looks better. At this point, I need to add this person's name, so I'll just manually type that in. And let's say that I want this person's name to be in a different font. I'll highlight just that portion of text, and let's switch over to this font. To adjust the timing of a title, all you need to do is place your cursor on either edge and drag. Now that you know how to add a title to your project as well as how to make adjustments, I want to show you 3 of my favorite packages of title effects. The title that we just used, as well as the next 2 titles that follow it in mDavid, are actually all part of a package called mTitle Kinetic. You get 40 different energetic animated titles that can be completely customized. This is MotionVFX's trailer for this product, and as you can see in this example, they're showing these titles at a very fast pace, which you have to admit does an excellent job of building adrenaline, and it definitely grabs your attention. The next package of title effects I want to show you is called mLowers Simple Pack Volume 2. That is a mouthful. I wanted to give this product a shout out because I've become aware that a lot of realtors are starting to sign up for my course, which is awesome. Personally, I think this package is perfect for realtors. These titles have a very clean and professional look without being too flashy. Like all of MotionVFX's products, these titles are super easy to manipulate and they really elevate your work to the next level. The last package of title effects that I want to recommend is called mCallouts Simple 2. Once again, this package is perfect for realtors, but you could easily adapt it to work with any type of business. These trackable callouts are not only visually impressive, but believe it or not, they're really easy to use. All you have to do is drag them on top of your shot and make the title length match the length of your clip. Then, using the on-screen controls, you can find a point to track, then move your text to wherever it is you want it to stick, and then click Track. It'll take your computer a minute or 2 to render everything, but when it's done, you'll have a final product that is sure to impress. I have to tell you guys, asking me to pick only a few of my favorite title effects is a little bit of a Sophie's Choice moment. If you would like to see a list of other title effects packages that I recommend, I'll put a bunch more that I'm not going to talk about in this class down below in the notes section, and you can explore them on your own. Let's now talk about transitions. To access transitions, click on this little bow tie icon on the right-hand side of your screen. The one that you'll probably use the most is the cross dissolve tool. To add it, we can just drag it and drop it between two shots. The default length of a transition is 1 second, but if you want to adjust it, you have two different ways that you can do it. The easiest is you can grab either side and then drag it left or right to increase or decrease the length. The other option is you can double-click on this transition to reveal the precision editor. So let's say I want this second clip to start a little bit earlier. I'll just double-click on the transition, and now I can drag this clip to the right. You can also adjust the length of the transition just by dragging here. When you're done, tap the Return or Enter key on your keyboard. I'm going to delete that transition so I can show you a great alternative to a cross dissolve. If you look in this list of transitions, you should see mDavid as one of the options. Everything you see here is actually part of the effects package called mTransition Fade. It's really easy to use and far more visually interesting than a boring crossfade. To make any adjustments, once again, we have to click on it so that it's highlighted, and all of the options are here in the inspector. The full package of mTransition Fade includes 6 custom transitions, so for example, you can have it fade and zoom in to a certain part of the screen. There are also 45 pre-animated transitions. There are 3 other transitions packages that I want to quickly show you. The first is mTransition Zoom Volume 3. You've probably seen this type of transition in a lot of other videos, and as you can see, it's really eye-catching. mTransition Zoom Volume 3 contains 50 different transitions, and just like all of their products, it's super easy to use. The next is mTransition Flash. I have used this all the time whenever I'm working with performers or really any type of theater setting, but frankly, it's such a clean transition that it really works with anything. mTransition Flash comes with 60 different transitions and is sure to please every J.J. Abrams fan. Last but not least, we have mTransition Text. This package is great, once again, for building adrenaline. It's best used when your transitions are short and when you only have a few words that you need to emphasize to the audience. I also have to say that mTransition Kinetic pairs very well with mTitle Kinetic, and when you use the two of them together, it's like wine and chocolate. Or, for that matter, chocolate and more chocolate. Unlike titles and transitions, the term effects can be very broad. So once again, I'm going to focus on showing you the effects packages that I think will appeal to this audience. For those of you who are in the nonprofit space, there is this one package that recently came out that has a really nice diversity of different tools. The name of that product is called mDonate. If you should decide to buy mDonate, it will appear here in the Titles and Generators tab in the browser. It contains 31 campaign elements, 12 donation options, 7 infographics, 7 lists, and 14 titles. Because there are so many different elements that are here in mDonate, I'm not really going to go into it, but I will let you know that MotionVFX has a 10-minute tutorial teaching you how to use mDonate. It's really well produced, and I'll put links to both the product as well as their tutorial down below in the video description. One of the effects that I do want to take a moment to show you how to use, and I find incredibly helpful, is called mCensor. This effect is perfect anytime you need to blur, black out, or pixelate anything, whether it's a license plate, logo, credit card number, or your ex. When I shot the footage for the commercial that we're creating together, I tried really hard not to have any customers in the background. So what I'm going to do is, for this example, we're just going to use the clip of Katie and Josiah, and we can just pretend that Josiah is in the witness protection program. All you have to do is go into mCensor, which is found here in the effects browser, here on the right, and drop it onto my shot. When you go to do this, you do need to make sure that the playhead is on the very first frame of the shot. So here's a little trick. If you tap the up arrow on your keyboard, that will send the playhead to the beginning of that shot. So now I can drag this box over Josiah's head, and over here we can choose between blur, pixelate, and blackout. Now all I have to do is click track, and once it's done analyzing every frame of my shot, it's good to go. I realize this class is running a bit long, but before we go, I have 2 more tools that I really want to show you, and they're both built into mDavid. If you have a business, at some point, you're probably going to need your logo to appear on the screen. These tools, known as behaviors, will allow you to add a little bit of animation to any still object. I'm recording this portion of the class at a later date, and since then I've made a lot of progress on my version of the commercial for Chiquesset chocolate. I've removed a few items from the end just so that I could recreate them and walk you through the process. If we go to the end of the project, what I want to do is to have the Chiquesset chocolate logo drop down from the top, stay for a few seconds, and then we're going to have it slide off the screen. When you're working with a logo, you want to make sure that you have a PNG version that you're working with. That just basically means that the background will be transparent. So what we need to do is to create a layer beneath so that we can actually see the logo. To access any solid color as a background, you can go here to the Titles and Generators tab in the browser. And if you look here at the bottom under Generators, I'm going to click on Solids. Now I'm going to drag this white block into my storyline. To change the tone, I'll go here into the inspector and change it to bright white. Looks good. So at this point, I'll grab the logo and I'm going to drag it and drop it over my white screen and adjust the timing to make it fit. This next part can be confusing for some people, so I'm going to take the pacing down a notch. Anytime you want to animate a still object like this, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it, but I'm going to show you my favorite way. And the way that I like to do it is to turn it into a compound clip. To do this, all you need to do is secondary click on the file and select Compound Clip. In case you didn't know, compound clips are used to combine different clips, effects, and titles together. After you've created a compound clip, the way that you can make changes to it is by double-clicking on it. So now, to add my animation, I'm going to go into mDavid and I'm going to grab behavior number 9, which is this downward motion. And what I'm going to do is drop it over the beginning of our logo. Let's preview it to see how it looks. You know what? I think I'd like to make this a little bit faster. To do that, I'll grab the side of the behavior and drag it a little bit to the side so that the animation appears faster. If I want to make the logo slide out at the end, I'll just grab this motion right here and drop it over the end part of the clip. Okay, students, pay attention. This is where a lot of people get confused. When you're done making changes to a compound clip, the way that you exit it is by clicking this really tiny, hard to see little arrow. That will take you back to the primary storyline. So just to confirm, after you've created a compound clip, you double click it to enter it, and once you want to leave it, click that arrow. The other tool that I wanted to show you, and I think could be extremely helpful to all of you who have your own businesses, is this lower third option, which you will see here in mDavid. And the reason why this is really cool is because it has a placeholder for a headshot. So let's drag this over just some random shot and swap out that placeholder photo. How do we do it? You guessed it, we head over here to the inspector and click on this little icon. At this point, Final Cut wants me to tell it where the replacement photo lives. So let's go back to our browser, and I'm going to go here into the Still Photos event, and I'll just grab this photo of Katie. To link the photo, all you need to do is click on it so that the file is highlighted, then click up here in the preview space, and finally click Apply. And just like that, you have a lower third. That title is actually part of a brand new effects package called mTutorial. mTutorial comes with 7 add-ons, 8 backgrounds, 14 focus options, 9 guides, 8 lower thirds, 13 miscellaneous tools, 13 placeholders, 11 pointers, 17 titles, and 7 transitions. Whew! Despite the name of this product, these are the types of tools that can be appealing to any kind of business. If you'd like to find out more about this or any of the different products that we've talked about today, you'll find links to everything down below in the video description. And don't forget, if you use my special promo code TechTalk10, you can save 10% off anything you buy. Okay, Thinkific students, your homework is to play with the different titles, transitions, and effects found in mDavid. You're welcome to include some of them in the commercial that we're creating together for Chiquesset Chocolate, or leave them out, totally up to you. You can also, of course, use these in the commercial that you're creating for your own business. In Chapter 6, we are going to talk about working with still images, and I'm going to show you how to master what has become known as the Ken Burns effect. And trust me, there is an art to it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Class dismissed.